3, 2, 1. Hi everyone.
Hello.
Joining us again for Coffee with Crones. We've got Ruby.
Hello.
Cindy.
And Aisha.
And Aisha. So we're around the coffee table. We've come together again to first of all say big thanks to everyone who's subscribed, and we're overwhelmed with all the messages and so thank you very much for that. That's great. We're really honoured to have so many lovely like-minded souls out there join us, and this is our second video.
Yay.
So yeah, sitting around the table, you've been clearing out the garden yesterday.
Yep, and I ache like mad today.
I've cleaned up the greenhouse, so it seems like that's where we're moving with this little chat. It's spring, it's time for growth, new growth and opportunities, and I think that's sort of where our talk's going to be headed, in the direction. We're all mad about gardens, all three of us are just absolutely mad about our little patch of earth on this earth, and making it as magical as we can, and taking the time to also appreciate and enjoy the magic of the garden.
Yeah,
is
definitely.
really important.
And we had a nice comment from Megan about gardening for beginners, didn't we? So it's really good that you've put all your comments in.
Yeah, gives us some direction, because otherwise we'd be headless chickens.
Because we are all about the garden, so you're totally in the right place.
So just to recap, we've shared our names again, but just to recap a little bit about who we are and what we do. We'll start with you.
Yeah, oh, thank you. So, I'm Ruby, and my business is called Dotty Delightful. I'm an artist and zine maker, and we are sat in my studio. Everything I do is to do with nature and connection, because I think that's most important.
Yeah, and I'm Cindy. My business is here in Lancaster, a little holistic shop and natural magic boutique called Sage and Time. And for me it is about nature, about being connected, so I see myself like a little bit of a guardian of the earth. Crystals and herbs are my thing, and yeah, just about appreciating the magic in every moment, and knowing that every moment is magic. You don't have to set aside a special time and get special equipment. It's just about turning up, showing up, and being magic. Just be magic.
And I'm Aisha, and I'm absolutely mad about plants and gardening and herbalism. I'm a potter and also a singer in a band called Chantress, and yeah, I'm all about like the connection with nature and the cycles of the moon and the cycles of the seasons. So yeah, that's how I have my connection with nature. So
So here we go. We'll talk about plants and growth and all of those things today. It's all about your thoughts, your intention, and putting it out there. I think that's, for me, the most important thing is, and then keeping my thoughts in balance.
That's the tricky part of it.
I find that really hard sometimes, because, well, I shouldn't find it hard, because I beat myself up because I'm a meditation teacher and I'm a breathwork coach and I'm supposed to be this person, and you know, and I'm teaching others and I should lead by example, and then the next minute I'm going, rah! You go, oh, hang on now, whoa, and then yeah, I know all the techniques and things like that, but it doesn't mean I don't lose it sometimes. But I can bring myself back into balance again. Lose it, bring myself back into balance.
I think that's just normal though, isn't it?
I know.
I think it's just normal. We can't be, unless you're like a Buddhist monk in a temple and you don't have chores and kids and animals.
But that's not being spiritual.
No, but they can't.
You know, but my problem with it is that we put this on ourselves, that if you're Christian you should be like Jesus, if you're Buddhist you should be like, you know, Buddha. or whatever religion you are. And if you're spiritual, you should be all zen and wonderful. I know I've been a monk in a previous lifetime, so I know I've done that. To take yourself out of society, out of all the mud, because I think of this as the mud, being in this heavy physical body, doing the daily grind, to me that is hell. Yeah? Hell is our own creation. It's what our mind makes and creates if we're not careful. So my whole thing is, if you completely remove and say, right, well, I'm not doing that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to sit on top of a mountain. I'm very spiritual, so you're going to serve me food every now and again and take care of all my needs, and I'm just going to sit here and chant. That's not really it, is it?
No.
That's not really growth. That's not really learning. That's not really... The challenge is being in all the shit. Do you know what I mean? That's where the challenge is in the daily grind, but then rising it above it and trying to keep your vibration, your essence as light as possible. And I don't believe that there's light without shade at all. I don't believe, like, when I'm talking and teaching that, and I'll say to people, it's not about unicorn fluff and candy floss. You have to see the light with the dark, and there has to be that balance. And I think as we get older, we get more comfortable with the dark. Well, I do. Well, those aspects of self, and I sort of, I don't wallow in them or sort of, but I quite, I think they can be really useful tools to have, to see your shadow and go, right, sort of, come along with me, I need you now. I need that wild woman.
And it serves a purpose, doesn't it? We can be all love and light, but we are earthlings, and we are creatures of night and day, and you need that balance of the two, I think, and that shifts through the year. But also, like, shadow work, I've been quite interested in that for a while, like Dill, and it's interesting to consider that some of the aspects that we consider to be our, like, shameful aspects that we have to keep hidden or suppressed, there are gifts within those, and they can be used. Used, but just by accepting them, then it's they serve a purpose, and it's about being a whole person. So it's accepting the light and the dark, and you can't just go around being all light, because that's, I think it comes out of us, and it leaks out, doesn't it, in little ways, because it's part of our nature. So
I think you've got to be in that dark space to learn the stuff that you need to keep you. So I see it as like we've got a vibration, and then in the beginning, especially when you're younger, you kind of, I don't know, on this lower thing because of media, because of what your friends are doing. And I mean, God knows what it's like now with social media. Thank God we didn't have that when we were girls. Do you know what I mean? Like, can you imagine how bad that is? So you're already at this, like, almost bottom level, aren't you, of comparison and all this kind of stuff. And then if you do the work on all the stuff, like your traumas or you know, your shadow stuff or whatever, then you get to a kind of a higher baseline. So when shit happens, you're not dipping right down, you're kind of at this bit. I found that since we've practiced Tantra, our baseline is much higher. So when stuff happens now, we're already high, so we can afford to dip. Whereas when I was in my 20s, if I dipped, oh my God, I was down in the depression, you know, like, and I think as you get older, you kind of get a bit higher and a bit higher, and stuff isn't the same, it doesn't affect you the same, it doesn't, You know, with the stuff that I used to worry about when I was in my 20s, now I think, oh my God, what was I thinking?
I know, it's not even a concert. It's not even a, you don't even go there in fact anymore. I would agree with that keeping yourself high, because I think for me the meditation and the mantra and my practices and all my crystals and that, they keep me there, so that when I go there it's easier to come back up again. It's just, it flows easily, and it's not as much of a challenge anymore. Definitely.
And I think without them tools, without all your different tools, whatever they are, I think you can easily just sink really low, and then just...
But you get caught up in it, all this mud.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Pond life. I liken it, I always use ponds as, ponds are magical places. They're a whole little world in one.
Yeah.
No matter how big the pond is or how small the pond is, they're a whole world, a whole ecosystem, a whole village there. And so I love to use little pond analogies. It's like, and it is like the lotus from the mud, growing towards the light and all of that. So
I think that's why you just triggered something in my head. I love rock pools. I love looking at inside little crevices in walls and stuff, you know, because it is like a little mini world within a world. It really is.
And you can watch it for ages. Yeah.
And there's so much stuff goes on.
I've got a tiny pond. It's probably the size of this table, sort of more organic shape, and I can sit there for ages. I've just asked Paul, because I sit on sort of the edge of the fence to watch it without disturbing what's going on at it. So I've just asked him to put a piece, like a plank, more comfortable. Take my tea out there and I can spend hours just watching a pond.
It's amazing. I moved our pond yesterday, and so we had two ponds. Like they were probably about as big as this, 2 buckets they are. And so we had one higher and one lower, and the higher one always empties. Obviously there must be a hole in it somewhere. And every day I was going out and topping it up, and I'm just tired of it, so I thought, right, I'm going to take that out and just use the bottom one. So I emptied out the top one first, because there was a bit of water in it, put it down, and then I was going to move the bottom one to the top. So I started emptying it out, and I'm there for ages emptying it out, and I thought, oh, all them frogs we had last year, they've all gone, there's like no frogs, what a shame and stuff, emptying out. Next thing, this giant frog, he was huge, leaped out, the pond water went all over me, I proper jumped, I was like, oh my God.
They do surprise you.
Yeah, he was well fast. So I was like, oh. And then he just sat on a rock while I emptied the rest of it, and I was like, I've got my eye on you, because I thought he's going to jump on it again. And I managed to move it, and now it's all back, you know, all done. But I'm going to do the same. I'm going to get a little stool or something so I can just sit and
sort of, you've got to sort of sit a little distance away so that your reflection's not bothering them. Now I've got 2 frogs, a toad, a newt, a little, like a pale creamy coloured one, and then we bought 4 fish. One didn't make it, but they've had babies, the leftover 3. One baby I think was lost to the frost because I had to fish him out. He was like a bit, but others hopefully have made it, because I haven't had any other floaters.
Well, that's good.
So we've had babies. But I don't know in this country when's the best time to clean out, because again I want to see and all the water's green. So I need to clean out the water.
I did it, I mean, I don't know if it is the right time, but when I emptied one into the other yesterday, it was full of algae. There was loads of it, and when I've put the water back in, I've put a bit of algae in, so they've still got a bit, but I've left loads out, and this morning now it's all settled, it's really clear again. But I don't know when the
right time is, because you don't want any eggs from the fish or the frogs.
Exactly, Well, tadpoles are now, aren't they? If there's any tadpoles, they'd be now.
I need to go and
because
find something.
it was this time last year that I went and got one.
I
My
saw
friend
that post,
donated.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's around now,
Mm.
and there wasn't any in the pond in ours.
I've got like little kind of old washing up bowls around underneath bushes, which were supposed to be for like hedgehogs and things to drink out of, so I've got like stones in them and stuff, so nothing can go in that deep. But I found that there were hibernating frogs in there as well, so I like move it thinking, oh, there's nothing in here, and all of a sudden you get this like weird movement and it's like, woo! But yeah, I haven't quite had one jumping at me and like baptising me like that. But
It's the best thing though, isn't it, for your garden, a pond? It's a really
Yeah.
good thing.
I don't think a garden is complete without a pond.
No, it's like the full ecosystem, isn't it,
Yeah.
going round it. When I've got a forever garden, I'm going to have a big pond, you know, like
Oh,
like one, because we had a dugout one once and I loved it. It was just so good. We also Tom had a big fish tank, like a 40-litre fish tank, but when it arrived it had a crack in the top of it, so it couldn't be for fish inside.
yeah.
So, and nobody would take it, that like they wouldn't take it back or anything because it was this big thing, and we put it in the back garden. So we had the pond and then this fish tank and all stones and stuff that went up, but because you could see through the sides, you could see underneath, and them all swimming around, and it was well good.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So did you like back it with to stop the crack?
No, because the crack was just at the top.
Oh,
We didn't
okay.
fill the water up to that, but if it was inside and it had, you know, like the crack had gone all the way, it had flooded everything. So we filled it up outside and left it for ages to see, and the crack didn't get any bigger.
So you just
or
had it out on
anything.
the ground, like ground level?
It was like Tom built like a wooden platform. So you had the pond on the floor into
Yeah.
the ground. Then there was like a wooden platform. So then there was all rocks and stuff going up to it, and then it was stood on that. So you could like sit on a stool and you'd be level with it. It was so cool.
I've got a big fish tank
Have
in
you?
my garage that's cracked, and I can't use it for anything else. But yeah, that's a really
Yeah,
good idea.
it's really cool. And you could see all under, like them all swimming in the plants, and it was just brilliant. Yeah, it was cool.
It's very exciting.
yeah.
The new ideas brewing now.
I know. This time of year, I always want to watch The Good Life again. I watch it every year. I'm like, I just love it. And I have massive ideas, bigger than my yard.
That's what Gardener's World does for me. I haven't watched it for a while, but that was my favourite way to unwind on a Friday. Just watching Monty Don. It's so like calming.
The thing is, the thing is that's a garden is our way to stay connected.
Yeah.
A garden is our way to express ourselves creatively, and it is really a magical little realm of its own. And I think if you can, even if you've got just pot plants and things like that, I think that's the first thing I do. I think when I move into a new space is I get that space right,
Yeah.
so that I feel held and I feel at home and comfortable.
Also, I think it's good if you move to a new space and there's already a garden to leave it for a year. So you
Watch it, observe
Yeah,
it, definitely.
what comes up, what there is. I went to my niece's. She lives in the middle of the country in the Yorkshire Dales. We've not been before. We went on the way back from holiday. Oh my God! She opened a back door, and there was this huge like mountain hill thing. Oh my! I was like, I just was like, oh my God. Anyway, so they've only just moved and they've got a garden and there's all raised beds and stuff. And I was going round going, oh, and that's this and that's that. And she was like, oh, I didn't know there was any of this. And I said that to her.
Yeah.
Just watch it for a year, see what already comes up. What
And
there
as you're
is.
sitting there, I mentioned this in one of the comments to one of the ladies who asked about gardening, is just take your cup of tea out there and sit. Because as you're sitting there, it's like the garden speaks, because you'll go, oh, I could do that there. Oh, that needs doing that. And these ideas drop in and filter through or filter down or however you want to describe it. And it becomes like, it unravels slowly and you create slowly. But watch the seasons first, see what comes up in spring, what bulbs come up, what flowers when, and just have a garden journal.
Yeah.
And then you build on that, definitely. If you move into a place with an established garden. We moved into our hedge, which HQ as I call it, but it was gardened by someone who wanted a low maintenance shrubbery type thing, which is not me. I like to really garden, so I've left parts of it and other parts I've completely redone. Put in a lot of bulbs, so I've got the bottom by the fish pond, there's a big Japanese maple, there's a lilac, so it's all things that really come alive, and I've just done a cherry there. But that I've made like a natural woodland, so that part of the garden is very natural woodlandy with those kind of plants. And then I've come up with obviously my medicinal plants and my incense that I grow, plants for incense and smudge sticks and that. But on the back I've tried to keep all edible.
Yeah, that's what we've done this time. I've moved all the edible stuff down, there's like little stairs to the back door, and then the rest of it is all herbal and floral. You see, the thing is with just going back to Gardener's World, I always used to get like it did do me head in, because it's too formal. Do you know what I mean? It's too formal.
Not anymore.
Oh, is it not?
No.
I haven't watched it for a long time. But yeah, it used to be really, and I'd be like, oh my God, taking your dailies in every year and stuff. I can't be doing that.
I don't do that.
Wow. So that was interesting.
Yeah, they have done a lot more nature focused gardens.
Yeah.
And they've also started encouraging like reusing plastic pots and things like that. And what I also found was it had kind of happened by accident in my garden where the nettle patch just went a bit crazy, and I'd gone on a wild weeds medicine course, and it was just amazing, like dandelions and nettles. Jamie laughs saying I'm like the nettle marketing board sort of thing. So I had all these nettles in the garden, I just kind of left them, and it's the first time in years that my roses blossomed, because usually I'd go out and I don't like spraying, so I'd go out and like rub the green fly off and things on me at the same time, but the nettles attracted so many ladybirds, but they come and sort out the rest of your garden as well. So now I've got this massive nettle patch that actually I quite like it, and it grew up around a lot of other pots that I had, and those pots were so high maintenance, but with having the nettles over them, they still grew fine, but the nettles gave them some shade, so they didn't need watering as much, and I was like, this is genius. So I'm going to take my cue from that, and the plan is I've bought some trees and things, so I'm going to put them, so rather than having trees around the outside, I'm going to put them in the middle and have that shade, so it just protects a little bit and hopefully dries up some of the water as well. But going back to Gardener's World, so I was watching Gardener's World, and they had a nature garden, so they featured people's own gardens, and this lady had this allotment garden, and it just sticks in my mind so much, and she had wildlife cameras up, and she was saying the same thing, that she has I think the only term I can think of, I'm not quoting her directly, but it's having sacrificial plants. So you bring in plants that bring in the predators that host the prey, like the aphids, but it brings in the predators, but they also sort everything else out, and it's having that balance. So I was listening to a lady the other day going, oh, I don't do weeds, they cause me so much work, and I was like, no, I'm not going to go and give her a little talk.
There's no such in my book, there's no such thing as a weed.
No.
Because a weed is merely a plant in the wrong place.
But even then I think, well,
it's decided to root itself there, so is it a weed?
Also, if you look at a lot of weeds, they're all really herbal, or they've got loads of uses. So when did, I'm guessing it's men, patriarchy, come in with this term weeds and tell everybody that weeds are bad?
Yeah.
And now we'll sell you some weed killer every year. It's all about the money.
But dandelions are such an amazing plant, and you just like look at the garden and you think, oh, but if the dandelion's there, it's because something needs to be healed, and that's what I found is like the plants are there because they're there for a specific, if they come in for themselves, they're there for a specific purpose. And now I'm like, I love the dandelions, but they've stopped growing. I'm like, oh my god.
The other thing I've noticed is with people, because I do a lot of home visits in the mornings and that, and you'll be talking to a client and you notice, oh, that's growing outside their gate, oh, it's growing there and there, and then you go, so this herb that you've got growing all over your garden, do you use it at all? Oh, no. And it's usually the herb they need.
Yes.
Now I've got lemon balm that follows me around, literally. I cannot get rid of it. Mexican fleabane is all around the shop and it just keeps spreading. It grows everywhere. And lemon balm. And lemon balm is one of the things I use for calming. Soothing. So that's an important thing, to look into your gardens,
See what there is.
and just see what is naturally occurring. And that's probably the herb or the medicine that you need. And then there was another thing. Oh, you were talking about dandelions. So by the way, dandelion marmalade to make is really good. But I love it as a magical plant in that it represents the sun in blossom, the moon when it's got its little head, and then you blow it and it becomes the star. So magically, the dandelion, I use a lot of dandelion in magic. So the leaves coming up now are really good for the bitters that we need and the cleansing. So,
And that's the other
and I just
thing.
put it in pesto, so I take wild garlic, the leaves, wild garlic, leaves and flowers. I take dandelion at this time of year, jack by the hedge or whatever else I can add to it. Just a bit of olive oil. I don't put cheese in my pesto, just a little bit of olive oil, salt and pepper, bit of extra garlic if you want to, and just blend it up.
That's delicious.
And most people in pesto recipes will use pine nuts. I don't use pine nuts. I just take sunflower hearts
Yeah, they're nice, aren't
and
they?
put them
Do you
in.
toast them at all? No, just
As they are, and I blend it all together, and that makes the most beautiful,
Really
beautiful
nice.
pesto.
I love that as well, that all the stuff that's coming up now in spring is all for cleansing. So like cleavers, drinking your cleaver water,
Yeah.
the dandelions, the nettles, it's all about cleansing. Have you seen that book, The Seed Sisters?
Oh, the Seed Sisters have got a lovely book, yeah.
I've not got it here, it's upstairs. Have you seen that? You'd love
I
it.
haven't, but it's ringing a bell for some reason. But I haven't got the book. But
Yeah, it's a really good book. I met them last year
At
at the witches event.
yeah.
They're mad as a box of frogs, they're bonkers. They're brilliant. I loved it.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, so good.
I think books are really important, but it's important for us to know that books are just one person's perspective.
Yeah. The reason I like that
To
though,
use what's around us as well.
definitely. Sorry for interrupting.
No.
Yeah, the reason I like that book is because they say in it, it's seasonal, and every season you go and learn about 3 plants. So you go and you sit and you observe, you taste them, you watch them, you see what they are, so it's not just a gardening book that goes, oh, this is this and that's
that's
that.
what I mean about
Yeah.
some books are
You've got
just
everything
somebody
just-
giving them their knowledge,
Mm.
whereas to experience the
Yeah.
plant.
Yeah.
So go, observe the plant, have a cup of tea with the plant, have a chat with the plant,
Yeah.
then pick it.
Mhm.
Try it in different ways. Try it as a tea, try it as a tincture, try it as a decoction, try it as a whatever. Put it in your food. Experience.
Get to know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I love that book, and it links everything in your body to whatever you're learning about.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that
it's
sounds
really
right up my
good.
street.
You love it. Really love
Definitely.
it.
Because this is what gets me really excited, is just like gardening and plants and herbalism and finding out about our native, so they're not necessarily like these exotic plants and things that are coming from other countries. It's we have what we need right here, which goes back to what you were saying earlier. We have everything. Mother Nature knows us, gets to know us, and plants will grow that you need. And like, you know, in this country particularly, we've got hawthorn growing abundantly, and heart disease is one of the biggest issues in this country, and it's the solution is, or the tonic for it is all around us and abundantly available, and it's just switching people back onto the wildlife that's around us, not these fancy exotic plants that come and are quite high maintenance in your garden, even though they're amazing. It's having the things that grow naturally and locally. And
all medicine is based on plants. All medicine is based on plants. That's the original source. People come in and they ask for sage. And then I go, do you mean a smudge stick?
Yeah.
How about I give you a homegrown smudge stick? Our sage here in the UK is mugwort. Black sage is sage, not Californian white sage.
Also, that's
And
so
then-
endangered now because it's so popular.
Everything gets like that. So that's why I make it with mugwort, because it grows here.
yes.
In South Africa, all my smudge sticks were made with mpepo, spelled I-M-P-H-E-P-H-O, mpepo, which is an African sage. But every country, every place has its own sage, and you need to use that.
Just a note though, for anybody that's got dogs, don't use mugwort around dogs because it makes them sick.
Oh really?
Yeah.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I grow my own sage and just use that.
Yeah, your
So,
culinary sage. You can use the
you can
blue
just use
and the
that,
purple one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And rosemary and lavender. There's all sorts, isn't there?
Cotton lavender. I grow a lot of cotton lavender for my smudge bundles because it's really good to burn.
I didn't
It's a
know
really
that.
nice one to burn.
Yeah.
You'll have to show me next time you're around, so the next time I'm around yours, so I can see what it looks like, what the plant looks like.
I believe in foraging. I do believe in foraging, but I do grow. I've got 2 cotton lavenders, and they're fairly easy to grow.
Do they smell a bit like bum? Is that the one? It smells a bit. They're like little yellowy. They're like silver leaves.
I
and
know
little
what you
yellow, and it
mean,
smells like
because
bum.
they used to grow near work, and like you walk past, and I was like, there's a lot of dog poo around here. But no, it must be a different plant, because I know what you mean. It's got the little yellow flowers.
Yeah, and
It's
it
got
smells
a-
like bum.
But this one, I don't know what
It's not really a
called. But
blossomy flower. It's just like a little head.
Just the yellow head, and
Yeah.
it's like silvery
Oh, right.
leaves.
Yeah.
That's not the one there's one that smells like bum.
well,
It's
yeah,
weird.
I agree. I know the plant, but I think it smells like dog poo.
Oh no, no, it's not a poo smell. It's like a dead bum smell.
Damp crack.
That's the smell.
We all know it.
We've all been there.
I don't think it smells like that at all.
But it's one of those things, isn't it? It's like, is it like one of those Marmite situations where some people love it,
Yeah.
some people
Maybe.
I love it.
really don't love it.
The other thing I love in a smudge stick is curry plant. I don't
that
know.
smells good.
Yeah, yeah. I love a bit of curry plant. But when I'm making them, I do the inside of all my smudge sticks is mugwort,
Yeah.
and then
It's just an amazing.
and with it making dogs ill, it in certain amounts.
Makes them sick.
Yeah,
That's what it does.
Yeah.
Because it was lovely. We was in the middle of a lovely tantra session. We'd set up all the room, all the candles were on. I'd smudged, normally I use sage, but no, I was like, no, I'm going to use mugwort, smudged it everywhere. We was all like, oh, this is so good. And then next thing is, I'm like, what's wrong with the dog? And then he started being sick everywhere, and which just ruined the evening. And I was like, oh, he's obviously ill. Didn't think anything of it. And then the next day I was like, hang on a minute. So I started researching it, and it can make him sick. Yeah, because he was in the room with us while I was smudging. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
No, I don't smudge I smudge when they're outside. I tend to. use it when they're outside. So it doesn't affect them if they're not in the room.
No, he was
No,
in the
yeah.
room. Yeah. But I didn't know. But I just thought other people might not know and they might be
Yeah.
smudging and stuff.
Yeah, things like burning pine resin can affect animals and humans that have chest thingies. Pine resin can affect. There's
That's
quite a
weird
few,
though,
yeah.
because is pine not pine's really good for your lungs.
Really cleansing,
Yeah.
but it can affect.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, it's a caution.
Do you know what I really love? The way that plants mimic our internal organs. So like cleavers look like our
the
lungs, and the lymph, yeah,
lymph
look like
drainage.
the lymph, don't they? And
Yeah.
I just find that amazing,
Mm.
so amazing. And what really drives me mad is weed killer. People putting whip ash out at people outside. Why do you know what you're doing? Because they're just poisoning everything.
Yeah.
That drives me mad.
And that's a sad thing as well, isn't it? It's like, yeah, they came along one day like spraying down the street. So I was like, I don't want you to spray the front of my house because I've got an apple tree that grows in the garden. I don't want it like going onto the apple tree.
It's wrong, isn't it? Because it's harming all the bees and everything as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you don't want, because some people will like a neat drive and if you boiling water from your kettle, so just boil the kettle, boil some boiling water on it. Or when I was in New Zealand, my the chap that was married to my grandmother, he worked for Forest and Bird, and we went out into the forest and that and laid new tracks and things like that. But he would use salt water.
Yeah,
just plain salt water.
Well, that's what I was thinking as well, like around the boundary, like putting salt would, because that would inhibit the weeds, but I also don't want to harm anything, so I thought that would be a possibility.
So he used to just have these big pump things with salt water, just to, in order to lay a path for people to walk on, you need to kill the weeds. So.
But then that just goes into the earth, which is fine. But the weed killer going into the earth is poisoning everything. So that's not fine, is it? Or wait till it's rained and they're easy to pull up, aren't they? Obviously, if you've got a big thing like that in New Zealand, you can't, can you? But outside your own house, you could just pull them up.
But yeah, those are two easier options. It's just boiling water or...
I would worry about worms and stuff. I don't want to boil any worms.
Or you can just lay cardboard, can't you? Because they need the light to grow and then they'll just die off. But I just use them in stuff. Use the weeds. We should start a campaign.
Yes. So I want to grow comfrey because I know nettle and comfrey makes an excellent fertiliser for the garden.
Now that does don't
So
smell
what
like
I know, I'll tell you my trick for comfrey. So there are various tricks for comfrey, but I've got two big water barrels. The first one I leave and I don't put anything in, and then it's connected to the second one. So any overflow goes into the second one. And right next to the second one I grow my comfrey and my yarrow. Yarrow is like gardener's gold as well. And then all summer I cut, and I put it into the second barrel. So all the water from the second barrel has got comfrey and yarrow in it. But because there's a lid on the tub, it doesn't smell.
So why do you have the first barrel connected to the second barrel? I know you said the overflow water. So is that just for when it rains?
Yeah, just for the rain.
See, okay.
So it just captures the rain. Once the first one's full, that's clear water. So we fill the dogs like rainwater. They lap it up. So we've got a little bowl underneath that. But also just any plants that we're watering or using it. So that is plain water, but the second barrel has got heaps of, and it just literally rots and goes down.
And then how long do you leave it until you use it?
I just use it all the time.
Oh, okay. You don't need to just...
You'll have to dilute it, won't you? So you put a bit of that in your watering can with the can.
I just use it as is.
Fair dues.
I've not killed anything. Literally just It's not every day, all day that I'm putting comfrey into it. It might be this week I'm going to harvest the comfrey because it's quite big and looking good. I'll harvest it, cut the leaves back, make it look healthy and that. Put everything in and it just rots down to the bottom. And obviously you're getting this good... there's that much water in it that it is diluted, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's not a strong mixture.
Yeah, because if you do it in a bucket, that's probably why it smells in a little bucket.
And in the height of summer, it comes out a little bit brown, you know what I mean? And then it sort of...
Yeah.
So I just do it like that. Just put it straight in the water tub. And that way I'm watering everything. So that most of my greenhouse I water with that water. So that it's got food and nutrition in it.
Yeah, definitely.
And the yarrow is like the doctor of the plant world. So even if you've got like an ailing plant and you grow some yarrow next to it, you usually find that plant, whatever is the disease or whatever, it'll cure it. They call it the doctor of the plant.
That's part of its name, isn't it? Achillea. Because it was used to... I thought something to do with Achilles being like a god of war or something, and it was used on the battlefield because it stops bleeding.
It
so they use it to
bleeding,
it's a styptic, is that the word? But yeah, it staunches the bleeding, and they use it. Unless that's where his mum pinched him by the ankle when she dipped him, and that's why Achilles tendon. Yes.
I'm just thinking
about things like that.
It is really interesting. I'm just thinking about what you said before about going to people's houses and stuff's growing where they need it. And I realised, so the past couple of years I've had loads of herb robert growing everywhere.
Oh yeah.
And then this year it's all died off, and the other day I was like, why is it all died off? But I had metal fillings, and I've had them taken out. And herb robert draws mercury out of your body. You can use it in a foot bath to draw the heavy metals out of your body. And I've got no heavy metals now, and now it's not growing. That's so weird.
So I used to suffer from migraines quite badly, late 30s, and feverfew would just pop up, and then you don't think, you don't link the two, and you... there's a lot of feverfew. Well, we'll just transplant them and give them away.
Yeah.
Everything you need.
It's amazing.
It just, and then like you say, it'll just disappear, and you don't need it anymore.
I was like, why is it not growing? It's so weird, but I'd never tweaked it until just then.
Herb robert is also amazing as a tonic for the skin.
It's really good. It's got something like 150 uses, hasn't it? It's crazy. Yeah. So good.
Interesting. Yes.
What is your favourite herb name?
Oh.
Think about this. What is your favourite herb name?
Oh, that's tricky.
Oh.
The Latin name.
Amphibious biswort. It's got tiny little leaves, they're slightly pinkish, and in the summer there's a tiny pink flower on it.
Oh.
It's not toad flax.
Right,
it's not toad flax.
Okay.
You can have toad flax in your salads and things, so you can.
That's why I thought of it, because it's amphibious.
Okay.
There's a link here.
It's not that one, no. So, what's your favourite? Come on.
I can't.
Well, I can think of one.
Go on.
Alchemilla mollis. It's
Which
lady's mantle. So it's a lime green, and it looks like the ruff that ladies used to wear. But I love how a raindrop sits on the leaf, because it's slightly hairy, so it sits perfectly, but like because of the colour of it, it's like silver, and it's just beautiful. And I love the little flowers on them, and they're so pretty. But yeah, I love the name Alchemilla mollis.
That's nice. Did you know if you collect the dew out of lady's mantle and put it on your face, it's meant to make you beautiful?
Yes, I think
morning dew.
Yeah.
And did you know that morning dew on herbs is supposed to have all these things, benefits, because it's vibrational medicine.
Like, is that like a backflower remedy? Is that where they, sorry,
Exactly,
where they came from?
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I've just been reading about the gentleman and I've forgotten his name. I will always forget names.
Same.
We're talking a long time ago. We're talking like 1800s, even 16.
Culpepper, is
No,
it?
no. Even like 1600s, he talked about using the dew on plants and herbs to assist us because it's vibrational medicine.
Yeah, it's really good.
And we just,
Interesting.
you know that you have these old wives' tale that tells you to go and collect for warts and for this and for that,
Yeah.
all the dew from these things. But why? Oh, it's vibrational medicine. So
Yeah, that's amazing. I think mine, I don't know, I can't never, that's not good English. The Latin, I think it's just, I don't know, but rosemary, I think if I've got to think of one, and I know it means dew of the sea,
yeah.
because it comes from the Mediterranean. Is it just rosemary official artness or something? It's something boring, isn't it, like that? But yeah, rosemary's my. And when I just smell it, everything about it, I just love it. That's my
I love the
favourite.
name for mugwort as well.
Artemisia. I was going to
Artemisia
say
vulgaris.
Yeah,
that
that's
does
the name.
sound like a good,
It sounds like a
good
Harry
witchy.
Potter spell.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, I think my favourite is definitely the amphibious biswort. Yeah, but I do like Artemisia vulgaris as well.
I'm rubbish at remembering the Latin names.
I don't remember all of them, to be honest.
If
I
they
know
tickle my brain, I
things,
remember them,
yeah,
but
I know
yeah.
things by their, mostly by their common name.
Yeah, I can't remember stuff. So if you was a herb, what herb would you be and why? Because last time we asked about what drink you'd be, what coffee you'd be. So if you was a herb, what herb would you be and why?
So I think, yeah, mugwort is my absolute go-to herb for everything.
But are you a mugwort? Would you be a
Yes,
mugwort?
I am a mugwort. I'm also a bit of a mandrake. But I identify with mugwort in so many ways. There's the leaf that we see, and then when you're driving and the wind blows the leaf up, you see that silvery underside. And I think that's very me. I can have quite different sides to me. So for that reason, for its magical properties, for its expansiveness, its transitional vibration, I think, and because it's so in line with cycles. And I think I'm a very cyclical being, especially when I came here to the UK. In South Africa, you could basically grow anything at any time. The sun's always shining.
Yeah.
A winter's day, you're talking 18 degrees, you're still having a barbecue. So I grew all my own food. I lived on a farm. But the thing that I love most about being here is being able to visually see the cycle.
Yeah.
Of knowing just by seeing, and experiencing the cold and that. So I think that's why I would choose mugwort.
That's a good one.
So
I think I'd be. I think I'd be lavender because of the colour, because I love the bees being near me, because it's like it's very stubborn, it's very earthly and woody and grounded at the bottom, but then you've got this peaceful thing at the top, which I'm very much like, and it's really stubborn as well. I'm quite stubborn, but it's quite calming, and yeah, I think I'd be lavender. Yeah, so there's a bit of woody sharpness.
see, I don't see like you. That's not
Do
how
you
I
not?
see
Go
it.
on, what do you
So
see
something
me?
like a skull cap or a.
skull caps are pretty.
Yeah,
I
skull
want a
caps are
skull cap.
skull caps
They
are
are
really
so
pretty.
gorgeous, yeah.
It's
They're
got
cute, tiny little flowers.
because you're always layering, and you often wear your pantaloons with the anglaise and that, and you've often got like little bits and pieces on. To me, the skull cap was the first thing. It's got a beautiful
Does it look like a
purple.
moth? Does it have like a moth's face in it?
No,
Oh,
no.
okay.
Not that I know of anyway. It's got like a purple bell type flower. It creeps along the ground, but it's got a frilly little edge. It's like a joyful thing.
Is
That's
it?
how I see you. Dotty,
I'll-
delightful,
I'll look
joyful.
I'll look into that then, and then
Anyway,
maybe I'll do
that's my
that.
flower.
Yeah, I didn't know about. I've heard of it, but I
Skull
didn't know
cap,
what
yeah.
it is.
Yeah, I don't know what the official Latin name for it. I do. It's written down on the label outside my skull cap that I'm growing, but I can't remember what it is.
What about you, Aisha?
I cannot think what I.
Which one?
There's herbs I absolutely love, but I cannot think of like what I would resonate. So, do you have one for me? No pressure. But I'm like so many herbs.
So, trusting what comes to mind is rosemary. Very grounded. Very protective. You know, it's got all those properties. And I always see you, when I see earth. To me, you are earth in your ways, your mannerisms and that. So, I don't know, rosemary just came to mind.
Because I was thinking time, but I was like, how can I relate time to me? But rosemary popped in as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And memory,
It's just
you
very-
like thinking, don't you?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all about memory.
This could be a new thing. Get diagnosed by Cindy. What herb are you? Come to the shop and see. I used to put salt across the door every morning and be like, I only want nice people coming in. And only nice people came in. And then when I wouldn't be there and somebody else had come in, they'd ring me up, oh, I'm having trouble, these people have come in at any time when I weren't there. And I was like, this is funny. This is really funny. Yeah.
I literally once put, so you know, the doorway's got that little panel of crystals that I put into the thing. But before I'd put the crystals in there, there was just sort of an empty little trough there. And I once put black salt and rose petals in it. It looked gorgeous for a day. And then, but I literally had this guy, and say that's like the little threshold. He was walking and he went, and he didn't even put his foot down, and he stepped back out and turned around, and I was like, oh, maybe you're a vampire then.
That happened to us. We did the same.
Literally, he was stepping over it, and mid-step he went, whoop, and away he went.
Yeah.
He never said a word, didn't it?
We did
He
the same.
literally couldn't go over it.
I put the salt down, and this guy opened the door, and he went, shut the door, and he just walked off again. It was almost like he could feel it or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So funny.
It was like,
Yeah.
and all thing was like, ka-ching. And that worked. Black salt.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. But I've been using conkers for, I was just thinking about it.
for
Your
spiders.
spiders,
Spiders,
and they've
yeah.
not come in this year.
Yes.
Been super
It's-
surprised.
I found that in caravans, because I used to clean second-hand caravans, and there were some caravans that had conkers and cupboards. I was like, what is this? And then I read about them repelling spiders. I was like, that's genius.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah.
You're supposed to prick them with a pin,
oh, right, okay. I
just
haven't
to
done that.
release more of the
The
smell.
smelly stuff. Oh. I just left them all because they come in the bathroom normally. I've just left them round there. And peppermint's good for keeping away mice. They don't like peppermint.
Yeah, apparently so. So, questions, since you've been using salt on your boundaries. So, I was listening to something this week, and it said about putting a line of salt for protection around. But my house is a semi-detached, and so I couldn't get all the way around my perimeter, not even of the house, but I was thinking whether each should be the garden, but I've also got the garage in the way, which is like semi-detached to the next door on that side. So I can't get round my bound. So how would I, if I was going to put a boundary of salt around my house, how would I get past those obstacles without
See, I would use
cutting them out?
intention,
Or,
maybe.
Yeah.
Just
I-
join it
sorry,
up by intention.
mm-hmm.
That's how I, if you wanted to cover it like that, or I would just put 4 pots in the 4 corners, the 4 furthest points. I would probably just put, because that's what I do in my house, depending. Or when I did a house clearance on Wednesday, lovely lady, but some really odd energy. So I put, in the one particular room, I put 4 pots of salt.
Okay.
So either put 4 pots at the furthest point, or join it by intention.
Okay.
How would you do
Yeah,
it?
so I've only ever done it on the doors, coming in and out of
Yeah.
my house, the energy's that way. But we did live with some awful neighbours once, really awful neighbours. And every day for about a week, I'd just sage smudge the walls connecting us, and then say the affirmations,
Okay.
the intentions, that they're going to leave and go to somewhere much better for them, you know, wish them well on the way and stuff. And they moved out. So that's what I do. Or can you plant rosemary? Rosemary's
Yeah.
good for protection.
So I've got 4 clear corners that I could potentially plant in.
It's really
So
interesting.
that's why I love finding out about plants and herbalism and weeds and things like that, because it's just reconnecting and getting back that lost connection where we're so separated because everything comes in a little tub in the supermarket, and then when you experience the plant in the wild in its natural habitat, and then all of a sudden, like bilberries or wimberries, now I've met the plant, I can spot them at a distance, and you just know it's a certain kind of green, and it's certain, and it's just I can see. But when I met mugwort, I hadn't found mugwort for ages, and I was like, what is this mugwort? I need to find it. And then when I was introduced to it, then I could see it everywhere, and the kids would just laugh at me because I'd be driving in the car and be like, mugwort!
Mugwort!
Mugwort! Like waving at it as it's going down and just spotting it everywhere. And yeah, so I love experiencing things, and I think it's a really good way to kind of connect back into not only just like the earth and the life around us that we're part of, it's also connecting with the cycles and like the ebb and flow of everything. So like going back to what we were talking like right at the beginning, where we have the light and the dark, but we need that. We can't just be in the light all the time and like on all the time, despite what the old Tampax adverts used to tell us. It's like, it doesn't matter, you can still go horse riding and roller skating, you don't have to have. But as I've got older and just experiencing the cycles and then realising, actually no, I don't have to be on all the time, like switched on and ready to go. There are times when I will like hibernate and like just stay in the house in my jammies. But it's just experiencing that ebb and flow and like and going with that and feeling like, yeah, I should go out today, but actually no, I'm feeling like I need to be.
It's honouring your body.
Yeah, it totally is. What drives me mad is though, when I'm walking anywhere, if I'm not listening to music, this could just be because of my neurodiverse brain, but if I'm not listening to music and I'm going anywhere, in my head I have a running commentary of every plant. Like, do you?
Yes.
Everywhere I walk, I'm like, and I'm like, oh my god, stop! It's ridiculous.
And when I walk with Paul, I tell him what everything is. And I go, you can use that for that, that for that, that. Taste this, taste that.
I do that.
Yes, I do that with friends.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And I think, they must get sick of me, just keep telling, and then I keep stopping, hang on a minute, come and look at this.
Hedge bothering.
Because
I'm like, oh, what's this? And like looking at things. So I go for walks with friends and they're like walking off ahead and they turn around and they go, come on. And I'm like, oh, but there's this.
I'm like, it's not just me.
Yeah, I'm always. But it doesn't even have to be just plants, it's anything. Like, there's an ant.
Yeah, oh yeah.
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 Oh, and there's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
shroom. And
Yeah.
Yeah. Or is it a pretty leaf? Should I take
Yeah.
it home with me? That's
Oh,
really
yes.
pretty.
Yeah. Yesterday, when I was doing the garden, I found loads of empty snail shells. So I've
Hedgehog.
saved them all. Is that what it is, do you think? A hedgehog?
Really?
Well,
I thought they'd have
might
crunched
be.
them all up, but yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't know. But there was loads of empty ones. And I'm thinking, I wonder if I could varnish them or dip them in something or to make them hard and then make earrings, snail earrings.
Clear nail varnish.
Yeah, that's what I
Yes.
thought. Wonder if that'd work.
Yeah.
I was going to wear today, I've not put them in because they're quite heavy. I've got earrings made out of avocado pear pips. So
Oh.
the ladies literally just split the pip down the middle because it breaks open quite easily and they're two halves. And then she's put the loop on the top and then she put three dangly little leaves down at the bottom.
How
They're
lovely.
gorgeous.
That's so nice.
Yeah, dried avocado pips.
They're brilliant for dyeing your clothes, aren't
But
they?
So
it lives in
everyone,
these
by the
clean
way,
houses.
we are in Ruby's beautiful art
Yes.
studio. This is where she creates all her zines and paintings. So
I know.
And slightly off cameras, all my painting stuff over there. So it doesn't normally look
But
all
look at the
tidy
beauty.
like this. With this table.
yeah, we just thought we'd give you a change of scenery. So last time HQ, Hedgeridge HQ. This time your studio.
Yes.
Yeah.
So do you want to do your little rhyme, Cindy? Should we
I can't
finish with your
remember
rhyme?
it.
Something
So-
about your
A
bum
bruise.
being numb.
Our brews
Uh,
are through.
Our bums are numb.
Our bums are numb. Until the next moon, we'll see you soon. If anyone can come up with a better rhyme, help us out.
Yeah.
So we waffled on about all sorts of things today. We didn't have a specific plan, but what we did really want to come on and say is that we are absolutely overwhelmed by the response from all of you, and
Yeah, the interaction's
It's-
great.
yeah,
Amazing.
it's wonderful to know that you're out there and that you hear us and that you see us, and just
It's-
be magic. Just be magic is our
Yeah.
message. Just
And we loved the comments, didn't we? Reading all the
Yeah, yeah.
comments. And
I've tried to respond to all of you, and so have you
Yes.
guys.
Yeah.
So just keep giving us suggestions about things you like to hear about. We sort of waffled on
Yes.
about gardening
Gardening and everyday, kind of everyday, a little bit of everyday, because that's what
and a little bit of
gardening is.
everyday
Yeah.
magic. Yeah,
a little bit of
creative.
protection. These are
Mhm.
all things that people were talking about, weren't they, in
Yeah,
the comments,
yeah.
really? But
Yeah.
yeah, it's so good. Quite overwhelmingly, like,
Yeah.
amazing.
Really
Yeah.
appreciate
Yeah.
you guys as well. So
Yes.
keep
Yeah.
connected. We've got a Facebook page, and we
Yeah.
will put the link to the Facebook page
Yeah.
in the comments as well, so that you can send us a pic of yourself with your favourite brew
Oh, yeah.
or
Yeah. Favourite herb?
your herbs,
Yes.
things
Your
like
garden.
that. Yeah. So yeah, just
And-
keep connected.
Yes, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
Oh, yeah.
And, well, actually, encourage a friend to like and subscribe too.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
So we'll see you again soon.
Yes.
Cheers from us.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.